Hey, we're Saints. Father Chris here. Welcome to our Crucifixional live stream. Glad to have you beautiful people with us today. Today we're going after a nasty topic and it's going to get me in some trouble. We're going to talk about anti-Semitism. And, obviously just during this conversation this morning, I want you to leave all of the specifics out of the picture if you're able to do that in your mind and listen to the points that I'm trying to make, right? So in the context of what's happening in Palestine and the atrocities that are being perpetrated against the people in Gaza, the atrocities that Hamas perpetrated on the Israelis at the music festival, like that's the context, right? And what's happened, as I'm sure you're well aware, is that the world is pretty angry with what the nation state of Israel is doing. I used even the word Holocaust, which I don't know that that's far off. We've heard the words genocide, like all of these, extermination. You hear all these strong words, and it's putting the state of Israel, and rightfully so, in a precarious position because the world is watching as they do this stuff. And there is, rightfully so, some anger against the nation state of Israel. Now, in order to combat that, how do they deal with that kind of stuff? We've started to hear words that anyone who speaks against Israel is performing anti-Semitism. They're anti-Semitic, right? That's that word you've heard. And what that word has become to mean is anti-Jewish. We're going to come and talk about that in just a moment. But let's first understand, what is a Semite, right? A Semite, as defined by the Google, is anyone who speaks a Semitic language. So that would be languages like Assyrian or Aramaic, Arabic, Hebrew, so on, right? Semites are people who are from the ancient world that would include things like the Akkadians, the Assyrians, the Hebrews, the Arabs. Even some say that the Semites include all the way down into Ethiopia. The point I'm trying to make is that to be a Semite is a vast group of people. It's not just Jewish people, right? So that's number one. What the word means. You don't have to agree with the definition, but that's what the word means. And so that's why I always giggle when someone says, Father Chris, you're anti-Semitic. Shut up. I'm a Semite, right? I'm an Arab. I'm Lebanese and Jordanian. My people are Semitic, right? So it's not that I'm anti-Semite. Hopefully I'm not anti-anybody, but we'll come to that. What the term anti-Semitism has been defined as, and what we can find thus far in our research, is that it started all the way back in Germany in the 1870s, so, a couple of years ago, that the term anti-Semitism was created, whatever. They used the word, the first origin that we can find was to refer to hostility toward or discrimination against Jews as a religious, ethnic, or racial group, right? So the term anti-Semitism, they took the word Semite and then they specified it, narrowed it to mean Jewish people. And so now our understanding is today that it's someone who is anti-Semitic is anti-Jew, right? Now the truth of the matter is I'm not anti-Jewish. I have many Jewish friends, right? I've been to synagogue. I've gone for bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs. Some of my Jewish friends come into I don't hate Jewish people. I don't hate anybody, right? I hate stupid, but I don't hate any people, right? So all of that to say, when you use the word anti-Semitism, it's conflation in your mind to mean anti-Jew. And the truth of the matter is, most people are not anti-Jewish, right? Most people in the world today are anti the actions of the nation state of Israel against the people in Gaza, right? But when they call us anti-Semites and use that word, what they're really doing is saying, you hate Jews, and therefore you can't hate Jews because nobody should hate Jews, and therefore you're turning away or keeping your mouth silent and not complaining or yelling at us for the things that we're doing to Gaza. Does that make sense? Do you see what's happening there? Did I explain that well? Hopefully I explained it well. It's a misdirection, right? They use the term to misdirect so that you cower and stop speaking for truth. Now, the other part of being an anti-Semite is when they use that word, it's a familiar tactic if your eyes are open. It's forcing you in your mind in a box. So you either love Jewish people or you're an anti-Semite. right? Now, here's the familiarity. You either love black people or you're a racist. You either love Asian people or you have to stop Asian hate, right? You're a Democrat or a Republican, right? Like, and the list goes on and on and on. And they're polarizing us and putting us into these camps, which is only fostering the hate, only fostering the anger. And the problem with all of this is that we have the responsibility to see through that BS, to see through what they're doing by trying to divide us. Look, here's the whole point of what's happening in Palestine and Israel right now. It is a failure of unity, of just people being together. It is division, right? And so this is why you hear me say this is the work of the devil. It's demonic. Do you know? Now I'm a little bit off track, but go with me. The word devil in the New Testament is from the Greek diabolos, which means to divide. Do you understand? It's the work, the handiwork of the devil to divide. And when they put you in this box and put you in that box, or at least give you triggers that make you put yourself in either box, this is demonic. It is divisive. It is of the devil, right? Do you understand that? I want us all to see through that BS, to really recognize what the media is doing, what they are trying to do to us. And look, I'm not a political person. I don't even vote. I'm not even registered to vote. You guys know this. But man, let me pick on our politicians. They're as equally as much a culprit as everyone else, right? And it's just like all of this it's divisive, and it's putting us in camps, and all we're doing is turning inward. And the end result of that kind of division and divisiveness is the horror that we see happening in Palestine right now. You understand? That's like, it is, I mean, it's there. It is what it is. The challenge for us as warrior saints is to see through that BS. Like, we have to recognize what's happening here. And that even though I, and I'll speak of myself, can criticize the nation state of Israel's behavior and actions towards the people in Gaza, does not make me an anti-Semite, right? And so as soon as I finish this recording, I could walk across the street and go hang out with my Jewish friend. That's not good. Do you understand? I'm able to see through that BS, that because I criticize this, doesn't mean I have to be that. Does that make sense? Hopefully it makes sense. Did I eloquate it? All right. So if I didn't, forgive me. You likewise have to see through that BS. You have to be able to recognize, to think, to use your mind. I mean, it's there. And much of what we're dealing with is clouding the mind. And they do that with that distraction by polarizing and making you pick. I'm saying, don't pick. Maybe, instead, what if you picked, I don't know, harmony? Maybe you pick peace. Maybe you pick kindness. Maybe you pick love. Maybe, who knows? Let's go crazy and say, I don't know, pick self-sacrifice for the sake of other. Perhaps if you started doing that, things might change, right? One person at a time. That's all it takes. To quote the great Barry Manilow, one voice. Come on, baby. You be that voice. We love you. We want you to find that, to be able to see through that chaotic garbage that's out there. We have created all kinds of good stuff to help us do that. One of them is the battle plan that we have going at warriorsaints.org. I mean, the first module in the battle plan is how to get your mind right. And one of the most important things, even titled one of the lessons, see through the BS. Interested? Want to join us? Pretty simple. Love you. We'll be back tomorrow. As always, keep walking on the way of the warrior saint.